So after a job interview, a young man claims he was denied the position due to his weight. Joining us to explore the legal and ethical guidelines that define the circumstances in which an employer can lawfully reject a candidate's application are attorneys at law, Carla Harris Roper and Camille Bennett Campbell of Employment Matters Caribbean. Good morning to you both.
Morning.
Welcome to Smile. Carla, let me start with you. Employment Matters Caribbean. What is that?
Well, Employment Matters Caribbean is an attorney. We are attorneys, but we're also consultants, and our business is employment all across the region. We just love what we do.
No, what you mean by your business employment?
We guide employers, employees, unions, HR persons, the government, anybody who wants information around anything that surrounds employment, labor relations, industrial relations. Our team of 5 at the moment, we take that on with gusto.
Excellent.
Great.
Can we talk a little bit about the background for this case? Can any of you ladies speak to this case with this gentleman?
Well, what I've been able to see in the media is that it's alleged that he would have applied for a job at an institution, and he says at first he was told he got the job, but then he was called for a second interview. And he said that they said because of his weight that he did not get the job. And he said he has degrees and he was qualified. Of course, the institution has said it has nothing to do with his weight at all, as would be expected.
Okay, so this gentleman said he had a good interview, says he had locks and he expected the older persons and the seasoned educators to ask him about the locks. Somebody's looking on here like, what? He said he got a call from a school offering the job, went to complete the paperwork, then he was asked to do a second interview, and then during the interview, the guidance counselor raised concern about his weight. He was then asked if he has comorbidities, how he manages to navigate with his weight, and then he said he was told that he didn't get the job. What would your organization do in a case like this? Camille, let me continue with you.
In a case like this, you'd have to investigate the facts first because there are 2 sides to every story. So you'd want to hear what he has said and you'd want to hear what the institution has said in the first instance to see the strength of your case. Also, you have to prove your case because it's going to be that he says one thing and they say another thing. So the first thing we'll do would be to assess the strength of a case like that to see if we would proceed or not, or even to write to the institution to find out, can we get more information about your process? What was your criteria for assessing the worker? Because normally you would have advertised that job and you would have had qualifications, experience. So that kind of information we would have gathered to be able to look at the law and make a determination.
But Carla, let me stick with Simone's question. What if, in fact, he was denied of the job because of his weight? What could happen then?
The truth of the matter is you'd really have to see what are the qualifications and what would be required for the job. So if, for example, this job was one that he would have to be going upstairs, going up ladders, for example, and we can't find an alternative to ensure that he can safely do that, then that could be a reason or a rationale for him.
Wouldn't that have to be in the JD?
Well, we don't know exactly what that is, so we'd certainly have to look. Some things are not going to be, you're not going to necessarily going to be able to see that. But I think we were talking about it, Cam, because incidentally, even before you came, when we saw it, we put it in our work WhatsApp group, and we started discussing it among ourselves as counsel.
You know, Carla and Camille, you raise an important point because grey areas are very grey,
Indeed they are.
And so your job description or the requirements or the criteria put up by the company, black and white. When you get now into the greyish that is not really on the paper but can be inferred based on what it is you're supposed to do, then the problem you're getting into?
Yeah. I think when we were discussing it, we spoke about what in some countries we have legislation, we speak about objective criteria, right? Because say we have had cases in the UK where persons teach at an Islamic school, and they have strict requirements for women. So you would not be able to have a man teach at a female school.
Gotcha.
You understand? And for example, if you are a pilot there are going to be certain things that unless you can have corrected, if you can't see very well and cannot be corrected by glasses, no matter how much you want to be,
you're going to fly us into the ground.
No, but you have to look at it. And some of the times, sometimes people believe that if they apply for a job, they must get it. Employers have rights. Employees have
Let me
rights.
jump in, because we said at the top about legal and ethical. What if the principal guidance counselor said, all right, no, that's not where I want to go. The question about comorbidities,
Right.
is that a legal?
Well,
what if he did have some comorbidities?
I think that is also putting us in the realm of a new piece of legislation where, we are starting to see it develop now, the Data Protection Act. Just how much information
Well, that's the question.
is going to be required for the position that you are
Well, let's be
applying
specific, Camille. Let's be specific. The question was asked. Is that a legal question?
I don't think in the circumstances, he said he was going to be doing an English teacher, something for an English teacher. I don't know that is something that, in my mind, should lawfully be asked as a criteria for that
But it
job.
either legal or it don't legal. I understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
but it either right or it don't right.
I think for that job, they would have a high bar to cross
Right.
to say
Yes,
that kind of
But
question.
also then,
Yes, is going
consequently, they would have a high bar to prove that his weight would have no ladder if you teach in English unless you're really, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Unless
yeah.
you're a really creative teacher. So when do we get now into the realm of discrimination?
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
so you know that there are certain grounds protected in the Constitution,
Correct.
Charter of Rights. You have race, you have male or female, you have
Political
religion,
affiliation, religion.
and also we have the Disabilities Act now 2014, that you cannot discriminate based on disability, because people would say to persons, you have a disability, so we can't accommodate you for the job. That law means we cannot just do that anymore. You have a responsibility to make accommodations.
Reasonable accommodation.
So you really want to make sure you're not, that's why I said stick to objective criteria. You don't want to get down the ground of discrimination.
And also, there's another legislation that has now come out, very topical, the Sexual Harassment Act. There's also a provision specifically that if you are denied a job by virtue of the fact that you do not agree to, quid pro quo, you do something for me and I do something for you to get the job. In that act, that's the only one I have found that says in that particular circumstances, one of the remedies may very well be that you are placed in the job. It is going to be a technicality there.
I don't grudge you, no.
Yeah, I am very happy Simone is here this morning, because I've gone back to her question again. And the question was when you said you had to check out who said what and so. All right? So I'm going to straight that he's right. All right? So what he said, right, what he said is so it really go. Your response to all of that would be what?
Is it strictly legally? There's nothing that says that weight, when I call the grounds in the Constitution, you notice I did not say weight is one of them in terms of discrimination. But then you could look at it, maybe it is that his weight could be because of a disability you do not know. And what I thought about with the case is how could you look on somebody and decide that they're medical? That's why most times when they offer somebody a job, you actually do a medical for a medical practitioner to assess fitness.
Again,
you could not just look at him
Right.
and say, just because you have weight, you're not fit for the job. That's why you have medical practitioners.
So if what he's saying is the truth, then the school is wrong.
The school would be wrong.
If what he's saying is the truth.
If what he says is
and also there's also, you can give someone a chance. That's why we have a thing called probation. So if he has
proves
all of
the
those
first
things
3 months at
and he
camp.
has the capacity
So
to do
again, now, if the school is wrong, and we're saying the school is wrong, forgive me, the school, but we're saying the school is wrong, then you what? You order them to give him the job?
Oh, no.
So what happened? No, but what happened?
What's his recourse?
Yeah.
Well, I guess he would start off with coming to people like us, giving his story, and we write to them and invite them to look at this thing and reconsider. If they don't, then we'd have to determine whether or not, because remember, we don't know he's right yet.
No, I'm just,
It would be a question of whether or not we can mount an action, and if so, under what circumstances.
So I think what Nev is asking, because we're hypothesizing here,
Right.
right?
Yes.
So if the company is not wrong, great. If the company is wrong and he feels like his rejection has been denied on grounds of whatever we call it, what are the possibilities? One, could it be that the company has to hire him, or I don't know why you'd want to work in a place that don't want you there?
Well, there you
Is
have
it
it.
a financial settlement? Can you claim distress from what has happened?
Well, what I can
but
say
these
to
are the
you
things
is this. The unfortunate fact is our jurisprudence, our laws have not
We're not reached
evolved
there yet.
that far. There are other countries, the UK, even Trinidad and Tobago, they have an Equal Opportunity Act that goes a bit further. We have not yet, as a country, evolved with such bright red lines around this issue of
Do we need
discrimination.
to?
I think we are in the place now. The world is moving. We should. But it's not something that happens overnight. We have to consult. We have to look at our cultural norms. We have to look at the circumstance of each case. Just this morning in preparing to come to you, I looked online and saw that there was this lady who is a nurse. She had a disability from childhood. Andrea Dalzell, I think her name is. And she became a nurse. She's now called the seated nurse. And she said it took her 76 job interviews to get a job in the field that she wanted to have bedside.
76.
Yes, she was able to be a school nurse, counselor, policy, but she wanted to touch the patients. And it took her 76 interviews in the Great America.
Incredible.
And actually, it was COVID that gave her the break.
Yeah,
because they needed nurses. And then they saw that she had everything.
Yeah. I like your group. I like her. This is who started.
Yeah, God.
You're going to need those two people.
And God for me.
Oh, man.
I like her group.
So this case in the States would be something. Somebody would be living with somebody.
be very tough.
I mean,
Yeah.
so, in the States, people are suing McDonald's for getting bird with hot coffee.
Yeah. But the other thing too, not to say that we shouldn't evolve, but I know people and their circumstances is difficult.
Yeah.
You have sat and spoken to many people
Yes,
who have come
yes.
through so much.
Yes.
But I would encourage anybody with that. Don't give up.
Yeah.
Keep going, keep pushing.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
What is for you, as the old people say,
Can't be unfair. You know that saying?
Yeah, when the uniform is red and black.
What gave it away?
And Harris Roper, attorney at law and principal consultant, Employment Matters Caribbean, and also Camille Bennett Campbell, attorney at law and consultant, Employment Matters Caribbean. I like it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like-
I'm going to come and talk to you about a co-host who give me like a lot of stress on the job.
Okay.
No, that's why we have to go. Yeah,
Like,
We,
which is
we,
why
we
we
also offer mediation and conciliation.
You know what I
Nah,
mean?
we're-
Some money.
I think you have to then go to
30
your
years of
employer.
this?
You have to go to your employer and make a complaint.
Right.
Raise a grievance.
I'm a grievance.
Coming up, we hear how the British
Two
Coast is
grievances.
future-proofing our children through STEAM education. There you
Send
go.
help.
Rentington.